quick, just my quick usual little rundown. For most of the video, I'll be looking in this direction because my mirror's over here and I would like to see what I'm doing. I do tell these story times in a first person point of view, so if you don't like that, then you can leave, and these story times are sent in by anonymous people. Okay, so story time about my stalker. So a little background information. I was 19 and I was taking a gap year, but this story all starts right before I got out of high school. You know that time in your life whenever you're deciding whether you want to disappoint your parents or not disappoint them. Yeah, that. Now, of course I wanted to go to college, and I could, because I did get accepted at a college that was right near my house, which was cool. You know, it was a pretty big campus. The one thing that really had me set on going there was the fact that it was like 15 minutes away from my parents' house. Not only that, but a lot of kids that I went to school with who were in my graduating class, they also were going to that school. So at least I would have like a few friends whenever I went there. But with that being said, I also worked a job at this restaurant slash catering company. And right before the summertime, they offered me a position to be a manager, and they were offering $50,000 a year. But it was a shit ton of work, like organizing the events, having to bounce back and forth between the restaurant and catering. Anyways, yeah, they offered it to me. It was a lot of work, so I could either decide to go to college and be broke and be trying to balance school and a job, or I could just take a gap year and make some money and then go to school. Not only would I be making $50,000 a year though, my old manager had said that between catering and working at the restaurant, she made an extra $12,000 in tips. So of course I want to accept the offer, but I did have to talk it over with my parents, considering they were the ones that were helping pay to put me through college, and they agreed that it would be a good idea too. So I decided to take the position, but the reason why they were so on board with it, like they were really on board with it. Like I didn't really even have to get into any detail. All I had to be like was, hey, you know, thinking about just taking a gap year, you know, making some money. And they were like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. I was like, okay, sure, whatever. Pretty much because like we didn't come from a lot of money, so they were helping out, but it was gonna affect them financially, which is another reason why I wanted to accept the position, because I don't want to have my parents struggling more than they already were. Now here's the thing, right? Smart, taking a gap year, save money, right? Okay, well, I also thought that it was a good idea to get an apartment with my best friend. Now see, you guys are probably thinking like, oh, what's the issue? The issue is I literally did this to save money. How is it saving money? It's not. Saving money just would have been staying at my parents. But no, never that. Anyways, the main reason why I did live with her was so that way I could kind of stay close with my friends while they were at college. So that way it wasn't like our friendship was like fading, if that makes sense. Also, I figured it would be a great idea for me to be able to make friends when I go to college next year, you know, because they're going to be in college, I'm going to be taking a gap year, we're going to be living together, but through them, I can meet other people. Which I know I probably just could have met people on my own, but also my friend was the one who usually was more outgoing than I was. So yeah. She was the loud one who was not afraid to go up to people and start a conversation, and you know, through her I would meet these people because I would just be standing on the sidelines like waiting to be introduced into the conversation by her. Also, it was just easier for like me to do this so that way I wouldn't have to live in the dorms either. It was just a whole process that I was able to skip. But halfway through the summers, whenever I got bumped to the manager position, and then about a month after that, we got the apartment. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, right near campus, and there were a lot of hot guys that lived literally like right next to our apartment building. So I was already having the time of my life pretty much. Anyways, okay, so like I said before, shared an apartment with my best friend Lauren, okay? Now, I honestly thought it was a good decision. I really did. I felt conflicted at first because, like, I'm not gonna lie, you know how you hear those stories about like why you should never live with your best friend, and then like it's like always like a horror story. Like there's never a story about like somebody living with their best friend and them, you know, just like being better than ever. Like literally 9 times out of 10 it's them not being friends anymore. And in a lot of the stories that we've heard, usually someone ends up doing some fucked up shit. Anyways, I had another friend that wanted to share an apartment, but she had to live in the dorms for a year, so I was stuck with Lauren. Which I guess wasn't terrible. I think the only thing that I like didn't like is that like Lauren would bring home guys 24/7. Like Lauren was a hoe. She really was. Like, you know that one friend that just like tells you about like a different guy every week and then like has you meet that guy? Like, she'll literally be like, oh my god, I have to introduce you to this guy that I'm talking to. Yeah, that was Lauren. And then they would end up doing the nasty, and then yeah, she would be on to the next right after that. So, you know, the apartment was only 15 minutes away from my work, and in the morning I would usually leave at 8 o'clock, work until 5, and then I was making super good tips, and it was a pretty good schedule. Like, it gave me time to work, make my money, and then also have a social life. Anyways, that being said, Lauren and I got introduced to this group of people. And at this time, Lauren had a boyfriend because she was trying to make this other guy jealous. So yeah, he was the one who introduced us to these people. And all of them were super nice. I mean, there were a few of them that like did not give me good vibes at all. But I was trying to stay open-minded because I wanted to make friends. And obviously they all went to the same school that I was going to be going to next year. And all 4 of the girls lived in the same apartment. They were all sophomores in college. 2 were from Michigan. The other ones were, well, the other one was from California, and then the other one was actually from Hawaii, and that girl was actually my favorite, to be honest. You could tell that the 2 girls from Michigan, who we're gonna call Sophia and Claire, they were like clicked up with each other, and then the 2 other girls, they were best friends too. And it seemed like they were always doing something fun, so Lauren and I made it a point to become really good friends with them, so that way we would be invited to the stuff that they were doing. And they literally lived in the apartment building across the street, so it was super convenient for us to all be friends. And so yeah, we all started hanging out all the time. They were able to get us fake IDs, so we would all go to the club together. And that is where we met this couple of boys. We started partying with them, and we would usually be invited to all of their parties. So, you know, everything was going good right now. You know, I had a great job, good friends, great social life, and one of the guys I actually had a really big crush on. He wasn't a part of their fraternity, but he was on the basketball team and he was really good friends with them. Now, of course, because it's me, I just happen to like the guy that the girl from California likes, and we're gonna call her Isabel. I guess last year at some point they were talking for like a month. They fucked, which was news to me because he doesn't even look like her type. But besides the point, they talked. And then after they stopped talking, she went out with like 4 of his friends. So I thought that they were over, you know, like she was moving on with his friends. So what was I supposed to think? Anyway, so like I said, I didn't even know about this until I started bringing him around, and him and I started hanging out with everybody else. Now, the first time I just brought him around my friends, and then like, you know, Lauren, my roommate, my best friend, she was the first one that met him, and then right before him and I were about to go to his house, my other friends walked in. You know, the girls who lived across the street. Yeah, they walked in last minute, and then, you know, I was like, okay guys, gotta go, you know. I didn't even really get to introduce him because we had to go. We had a date to go on. Anyways. Well, whenever him and I got in the car, he just kind of looked at me and he was like, so those are your friends? And I was like, yeah, why? I thought he was about to like hit on my friends and tell me like, ew, you're fucking ugly, I want to date your friends instead. But thankfully, no, that was not what was gonna happen right there. He told me that Isabel actually used to stalk him, like pretty hardcore, not just like, you know, you know, to be honest, I feel like stalking just in general is like terrible. Like I was gonna say, you know, not just like your regular following them to oh my god. You know, I know some girls who have done that, so, you know, it's just like kind of normalized. That is terrible to think of. Wow. Okay, well, you know what? Anyways, back to the story. Yeah, she apparently used to stalk him, and she would send him like threatening messages saying that she was gonna have somebody kill him because he stopped talking to her. And I'm not gonna lie, it didn't really sound like her. Like, I'm not sitting there saying that I didn't believe him, but I'm also just sitting there kind of thinking like maybe he's over exaggerating a little bit. But then again, I had to think about the fact that I had only known this girl for like 2 months. And apparently he had been talking to her for like a month, and I guess since they were like more intimate, you know, a relationship, he probably knew her better. I don't know if that really makes sense, but you guys kind of get what I'm saying. So I keep talking to him. Eventually him and I end up sleeping together, and I'm not the type to just sleep with someone for shits and giggles, you know. So after that, I tell him that I want to get to know him a little bit more and see where things went between us. Thankfully, he felt the same way. So yeah, like I said, you know, I tell him that I like him and I want to get to know him more, and he was like, okay, I feel the same. I was actually gonna ask you to be my girlfriend. So I was like, oh, okay, period. Which, to be honest, I was very shocked, I'm not gonna lie, because he did have like a lot of hoes, but he wouldn't even hang out with them. He would literally, it was just like he kept them on his phone, like just for when he got bored. Anyway, so yeah, now that I was his girlfriend, I wanted to do what most girls would do as soon as they start dating someone, hang out with him almost 24/7. So I stopped hanging out with my friend group as much, and I kind of just started to focus on my new relationship more. And once Lauren started to get that vibe, she started getting pissed off, even though she literally had a boyfriend. Like, I don't care if you were just trying to make a guy jealous, you still have a boyfriend, so get off of my dick. Anyways, so you know, she was pissed off, she was jealous. And I just want to put this out there, okay? It's not like I was spending 24/7 with my boyfriend, okay? Like, I was still making time for my friends. It's just that in a new relationship, you know, you got to put time into it if you want it to work. I can't just be like, oh, we're dating now, and then see him like once a week. At least in my head, that's not how that works. But she never said anything to me. It was literally just like she was pissed off, but she kept it to herself type of thing. And it wasn't even to spare my feelings or anything. It was literally just because she was petty. Like, she started doing petty shit like all the time. For example, the one night they had a birthday party at the apartment for this one girl, Alexa. And by the way, this was the group of friends across the street that were throwing this party. Anyway, so they were having a party for one of their friends, and they invited Lauren. So, you know, Isabel comes over while I am in the kitchen kind of cleaning up a little bit, and she walks completely past me, goes up to Lauren, and she's like, hey, do you want to come over? We're having a party for so-and-so. And Lauren's like, yeah, sure. And just grabs her shit and leaves. Like, doesn't even ask me if I want to come. Now, I know she didn't have to, but at the same time, it was like, you could just tell that it was done on purpose because of how loud they were talking to. So at that point, I kind of got the hint on where our friendship was at. But yeah, that definitely bothered me. I didn't say anything. And I was trying to think about why Isabel would be mad at me, because my thing is that, like, Isabel didn't really know that I was talking to this guy that she used to talk to. And the other girls didn't really know him as well. Like, to be honest, I'm pretty sure that they all forgot his name, literally, because he only met them for like 2 seconds. Anyway, so later on that night, I get a text from Lauren. And she's like, hey, I just want you to know that nobody's mad at you, and we really wish that you would come. Which was weird, because it's like, she knew that I was gonna be mad. And now she wants to text me and be like, hey, like, come over, you know, like, nobody's mad at you, nobody hates you. Like, okay. So, of course, I still decided to go. And I felt bad that I was missing it, but at the same time, like, it wasn't my fault, you know? Like, you guys didn't invite me, like, you wish that I was there. Like, how does that make any fucking sense? Like, I know we're all girls, and I know that we're supposed to know that each other's confusing, but at the same time, like, what the fuck? Anyways, so you know, fast forward, I am on my way over to this party with my boyfriend because he was already over the house now, and he literally had just got there as soon as they texted me, which I think was on purpose, to be honest. I think it was a ploy it was a test to see if I would leave my boyfriend to go over there with them, because it was just all a little bit too coincidental. So, you know, fast forward, I get there with my boyfriend, and of course, Isabel tries giving my boyfriend a hard time and tries to make him leave. Like, girl, get over it. Go find another one of his friends. As a matter of fact, I'll give you the fucking number. Like, get the fuck away from my man. Goodbye. Anyways, like, you know those girls that always hate on your boyfriend and you kind of find out it's because they have a thing for him? Well, we already know that this is what type of person that she is. Anyways, so she looks at him and I, and she's like, this is more of a girls event. I think that it would just be better if you left. So him and I look at each other and we just start laughing, because the thing is like, there are literally 4 guys sitting on the couch. So obviously he's pissed off too, so he's like, why are there other guys here then? And it's funny because actually one of the guys sitting on the couch was his friend, so then, you know, his friend got up and, like, you know, went and did that handshake thing that they fucking do. After that, literally, my boyfriend's friend told Isabel, he's like, dude, move, like, let him in. And then, so, you know, they go, they do their thing. And then she walks over to me and she's like, that was not cool. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you want me to do? Y'all should have invited me instead of being petty. Not my problem. Like, oh my god. So whatever, just to make the night better, you know, and not to ruin anybody's birthday, I apologize. And I looked at her and I was like, I'm so sorry. I did not know that would make you that upset. I should have been like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that would make you upset, you know, like you seeing this guy that you used to talk to with me. Oh my god. No, that's mean. Anyways. Oh, because not only was she, like, not cool about, you know, like, me bringing him, she was like, also, I don't think you would be okay with me dating your ex-boyfriend. The last time I checked, y'all didn't even date. Another thing that I personally hate is whenever, like, you know, calling dibs is one thing, but if you're never gonna talk to the person that you call dibs on, you can't call dibs. And you can't be mad whenever somebody else is not afraid to talk to them, you know? Like, you can't be like, oh, I call dibs on that guy over there, and then just not talk to him. And then get mad whenever, like, one of your friends goes and talks to him. I don't fucking know. So, you know, every part of me is sitting there trying to hold myself back from saying, you guys didn't even date, and he thinks you're a psycho. But I just bit my tongue because, like I said, I did not want to ruin anybody's birthday. So fast forward, after all that bullshit, we finally make it into the party. And I go and I wish her a happy birthday. We have a few drinks and then it's time to go. Because not only were we not expecting to go out tonight, we definitely were not, prepared to have her sit there and watch us like a freaking hawk. So, you know, after that night, we all hung out the next day. And I could tell that Isabel was just acting really weird. Obviously, I knew that she was being super nice to me and being fake, you know. So I didn't really know what was going on because of this, you know. Like, some people, you know, like, you just know that they're fake and that's it. Other people, you can kind of get a vibe where, like, they're, like, plotting on you, you know. And that's the type of vibe that I got from her. Almost like she would try to, like, not include me in the friend group. Like, you know, anytime that there was something going on, I wouldn't be invited. Well, I mean, I guess it's not only her, you know, because everybody else had the choice to invite me. But, it, you know, and then also whenever I would start talking during a conversation, she would cut me off and talk, you know, and kind of get everybody else's attention back on her. So after a few days, I asked Claire and Sophia if Isabel likes me anymore. You know, I'm like, hey, like, what the fuck is her problem? Like, what is up her ass? And they're like, no, like, she still likes you. She just wishes that you weren't with her ex-boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend. Ex. And I explained to them that they never even dated. Like, that's, like, the thing. Like, she did not date this guy. And also, I'm not gonna lie, I've known this girl for, like, never. Like, we literally, like, don't know each other. We have not been best friends for years or nothing like that. Because if this was Lauren, on the other hand, I wouldn't have went for him at all. I wouldn't even have looked his direction if she told me that she got with him. Even if it wasn't even a relationship, even if it was a situationship that lasted like 3 days. I don't care. And they both were like, yeah, she told us a different story. I think she's just jealous because you're with him. And, like, obviously, like, I'm not fucking dumb. I just, like, can't with people. Anyways, they also told me just not to worry about it, you know, she'll get over it, it'll be fine. So, you know, I believe them. I really do. So, you know, I'm holding my tongue about certain things, you know, I'm not mentioning anything. I'm just kind of waiting for all this to blow over and be done with. But then she started doing even more petty shit. For example, I'm pretty sure that she took my clothes. And the only reason why I say that is because I'm pretty sure, no, I'm positive that it was her, because it was Isabel, Sophie, and Lauren, obviously at our apartment, Lauren and I's apartment. And I was at work. And that wasn't the big deal though, you know, like, they usually come over and hang out, but this time felt like she just, like, tried to run out of the house really quickly whenever I got back home. And also she had, like, this huge purse. So, you know, that was a little bit weird. And then I go into my room and my winter coat is missing. My winter coat, yes. And all of a sudden it's magically gone. And not only that, but just in general, Isabel was, like, notorious for taking people's shit. Like, she literally stole one of her roommate's vibrators. Yeah. But yeah, so that kind of gives you a little bit of insight is, yeah, how she is. So I go, I ask my best friends, I'm like, hey, you know, like, have you guys seen my winter jacket? It's not in my room where I left it. So they both text me back. They're like, no, we don't know where it is. You know, we'll check whenever we get home. You know, we'll check the cars, whatever. Later, they text me back saying that my jacket is not at the apartment and it's not anywhere that they looked. Which at this point, I was kind of freaking out because this was a gift from my boyfriend and it was a $900 jacket. So yeah, he was pretty pissed off too. Well, that night we all go to the bar and something else super suspicious happened. Isabel bought everybody shots, like she never does. And then she says some, like, smart remark to me. She walks up to me and she's like, it can be cold out here, you should watch your back. First of all, that doesn't even sound threatening. It really doesn't. So I just took it with a grain of salt. I'm like, all right, whatever, she's drunk. You know, I don't know how long I can put up with this bullshit anymore of her being upset that I'm dating her ex-boyfriend. But then kind of putting the pieces together, I realized that it was her admitting to me that she took my shit. So, you know, I look at her and I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? And she's like, well, I'm just saying, you know, like, I know that you lost your coat, so it can be cold outside. Don't want you to freeze. So at that point, I tell everybody that I'm not feeling well and I go home. Just to get a call from my boyfriend later saying that we need to talk. And I told him, I'm like, listen, like, right now isn't a good time. Like, I'm not in a good mood at all right now. And I asked him if we could just talk tomorrow. because if this was a breakup talk, I don't think I could handle any more of the BS. And then he responds, well, I'm kind of already outside your apartment. Of course you are. That's one thing that I can say. I don't like people who will like ask if they can come over and then like they don't even know if you're gonna say yes or no, but they're like right outside. How does that make sense? No respect for boundaries at all. So, you know, then he's like, can we just talk for a minute? I'm like, all right, whatever, fine. So he came in, he sat on the couch, and he told me that he wanted to apologize for making a mistake. And at that point, I'm already thinking he cheated on me. He cheated on me. I didn't think it would be with her. But then he goes on to say that a couple of nights ago, he got drunk and he made out with someone. And that somebody was Isabella. And literally, the reason why he said he did it was to see if there was still a connection. Like, what the fuck? You couldn't have broke up with me and did that and then gotten back together with me or something. Like, that would have been better. Especially with her, like with her. Why would you even tell me, to be honest? Actually, I didn't even want to know about that. Like, I really didn't want to know. It hurt me more knowing than it would have been if it was just a secret. But to be honest, I'm pretty sure that he told me because Isabella could not keep her mouth shut for the life of her. Especially when it had to do with making me jealous or something. And then he told me that they did a little bit more than kissing. But at the end of the night, he knew it was a huge mistake. So at this point, I was over it, and her, and him, for that matter. So I told him to leave. Then I proceed to call Isabel, and I told her about what my now ex-boyfriend just said. Then she turns the whole story around, and she's like, no, he came on to me. I wasn't even doing anything like that. He was the one who was begging to do stuff with me, which I didn't believe her, but I was like, all right, whatever. You know what? It takes two to tango. That's all that matters. It was both of them. So now I knew that I did not want to be this girl's friend. But of course, I like the other girls in the friend group, so I kind of had to deal with her. But I kind of also, like, I started to just separate myself from her and not go hang out over there whenever they would hang out with her. But I did tell Lauren I don't want her over our apartment anymore. She makes me uncomfortable. She stole my shit. She got with my boyfriend. Well, they got with each other, but still, girl code. And Lauren was completely fine with that because she agreed that the whole situation was just effed up, because it was. The other girls started to notice me drifting away and like her just not being a part of it anymore, but they didn't really want to get in between anything. After a while, Isabel apologizes to me again, and she wants to put everything behind us for the sake of the group. And I kind of agreed, you know, because I did want to hang out with other people, you know, like it was like annoying whenever I wouldn't go over there and I wouldn't have anybody to hang out with. Also, I'm trying to make friends for next year. So, you know, if I have to use her to make some friends, then it is what it is. But I did establish, like, her and I would never be best friends. Like, we're always just going to be friends and that's it. Like, not even. Acquaintances, pretty much. So then we're cordial with each other, and then she's talking shit behind my back again. So I confront her again. But this time, she was trying to spread a rumor that I had an STD. Yes. She was trying to spread those rumors around. She was trying to spread them around to our guy friends. She was trying to tell it to my ex-boyfriend that he needed to get checked because she thinks that he gave her something. Pretty much meaning like, oh, your girlfriend gave you something and you gave it to me. That type of bullshit. So then she's like, no, I'm sorry. Like, I would never say that. I was just concerned because I did catch something and it was from him. So I think that you should probably go get checked too. I went and got checked. There was nothing. So after that, everything was good for a month. Her and I really didn't talk too much, you know, but we would still be in the same room as each other. You know, we could be civil-ish. So then out of nowhere, I started getting like hate comments on my Instagram, and it was from like a spam account, and at first I thought it was her, I'm not gonna lie, because even though like we had been cordial for a month, I knew that she still didn't like me. Well, every time that I would block this spam account, a new one would just pop up, which was weird because Instagram has that thing where, you know, like when you block somebody, you block them on every other account that they make. So then I'm definitely thinking that it was my ex, because they were saying some stuff that was really personal that only he would know. And it eventually got to the point where it really started to bother me because this person was super persistent. Like, they would not stop. Like, they were commenting under my posts, my sisters, my parents, everything. Well, then I wake up the one morning and my Snapchat is logged out. So I go to log back in and I see that I have a recent like snap message from somebody. And then I see that I sent them pictures. Y'all can already guess what kind of pictures. Well, these pictures then ended up on the internet, and they even tagged my parents in them. So I was really at my breaking point at this point. So then I'm starting to think that like my phone might be hacked. So then I call, you know, like I take my phone in, they're like, there's no sign of that. So, you know, sorry. Well then fast forward, you know, I think a week goes by, nothing strange happens after that. I did call the police, you know, kind of got that stuff, tried to get it sorted out. But then I was leaving work the one night and I went to get in my car and all of my tires were slashed. Every single one of them. And written on the side of my car was slut. Yes. So of course I have to leave my car there, and Lauren and I go back to the house, and I'm calling my work seeing if they have security cameras outside or something. They don't, of course. So that night I go to sleep, and then a rock is thrown through my fucking window. Literally a fucking rock. And I'm not just talking about a little one, no, I'm talking about like a rock, like that big. So then I call the cops again. And, you know, at this point, they're like, you know, is there anywhere else that you can go, you know, blah, blah, blah. But my thing was, is I wasn't going to move back with my parents. So I decided that I was going to sleep in Lauren's room. And then fast forward, the one night we are over at the other girls' house and we're sitting there and the other girls are like, oh, you know, like, we're going to go and buy some alcohol. So it was only Lauren and I at the house. And then Lauren was like, okay, like, I'm going to go across the street and go get something. Well, then Isabel was in the house too, and we just like sat there awkwardly, and then I want to say like 20 minutes after that, I went and hung out with Lauren because I just didn't want to be around this hoe. So what happens? Somehow she gives herself a bloody nose, and then all of them come over to my house, banging on the door, and they're like, that bitch just fucking hit her, blah, 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 blah. And then Isabel's like crying, you know, she's like, yeah, she hit me, da, da, da. Like, this girl was actually a full-on psycho. Like, she really had some fucking mental issues. I'm not even joking. So I'm just standing there and I'm staring at her and I'm like, and then Lauren's looking at me like I actually did something, because Lauren did know how much I disliked this girl, but still. So then she literally calls the cops on me. Yes. And she presses charges. So then I had to deal with that shit. Until the one night, whenever I didn't even feel comfortable being in the same house as her at this point, to be honest. But Lauren had everybody over because Lauren was about to go back and see her family over in a different country. So we're all sleeping there. So, you know, I'm in my bedroom. They're all sleeping wherever the fuck they decided to sleep. And at 3 in the morning, Isabel comes in my room and attacks me with a fucking knife. Yeah, literally a knife. Like, when I tell you guys, she was actually batshit crazy. Like, I know this, like, all the shit that she's, like, doing sounds like kind of minor, but it was actually like, I have trauma from that situation. She literally came into my room and attacked me with a knife at 3 in the fucking morning. A kitchen knife, like a steak knife. So I'm screaming and I push her off of me. She like hits her head off of the nightstand and falls. And then everybody else comes upstairs and everybody's staring at her while she has this fucking knife in her hand. She accidentally cut my arm, so there's blood like everywhere. She ended up going to jail. Yeah, she ended up going to jail. So yeah, I guess moral of this story is, do not trust everybody. If they seem like they are a psycho, they probably are. Do not ignore the red flags, or else you will literally probably get attacked at 3 in the morning with a steak knife. Okay, everybody, that is the end of today's story time. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, maybe hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to send in your anonymous story time, or you want to know how, click the link down below in the description. But other than that, I will see you guys next time with a new story time.